It's been a magical season. Your Vegas Golden Knights went from a 500-1 long shot to win the Stanley Cup to an expansion team that was up 1-0 in the Stanley Cup Finals, only to ultimately fall 4-1 to the Washington Capitals. Hello, I'm Brian Salmon, and this is Golden Edge. Look back, look ahead. So, there's no end of the season parade for fans to thank the players and vice versa. Even though, due to free agency, it's likely the team will not be the same next season.
The reality is, in a salary cap world, you have to make some tough decisions. And this team, not everyone will be back. We've all learned lessons over the years. If you examine what happens in the salary cap world, you have to be smart about what you do and the contracts you hand out, or it hurts your team. It gets in the way.
Specifically a guy like James Neal, who is the biggest name free agent on the team. He knows his days may be numbered. He was emotional in his end-of-season media availability.
I don't know. It's so hard. Emotions right now, you know. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. It's you just put everything you can into wanting to win and wanting to do good things. And when you come up short, it's just it's gut-wrenching. It's tough. You see your family, you see your parents are upset, everyone's upset. So, especially going about it 2 years in a row, I honestly thought we were going to win this year. I believed in our group, so it's really hard.
So it's not only Neal, but Ryan Reeves, Lucas Spiza, Brandon Peary, and Maxime Lagacé are all free agents. Will any of these players be back? Now, if you're talking VGK, it's an interesting discussion. So time now to bring in reinforcements to talk Golden Knights hockey and free agents. Columnist Ed Graney and sports reporter Adam Hill. Ed, will James Neal be back next season? And which big-name players or player will not be back?
You know, Brian, I don't know if he'll be back. If you listen to James Neal on getaway day, the day after they lost, he said he loves it here. There's no question he's enjoyed Las Vegas. Fans love him. But at the end of the day, he is at an age north of 30 where when you're an unrestricted free agent, this might be your last time to really cash in. So James Neal right now, I'm really not sure. I think they will offer him the money he desires. I don't know if they'll offer him the time he desires. And I think that's probably the good way to play it if you're the Vegas Golden Knights. 2 to 3 years, here's the money. Maybe someone else, Adam, comes in with 6 to 7 years, here's the money when it comes to James Neal. I don't know what you think about this, but I think he's really good for the team. He's a scorer. I don't know if I go length on him because Cody Glass, Suzuki, all these young players are coming up. They're going to get here eventually. I don't know if you can wrap James Neal up for several years.
Yeah, I don't think the plan will be to offer the biggest contract to James Neal. The plan for James Neal, I believe, is they're going to make him an offer and say, here's what we can do. This is the most we can do. If you want to take it and you want to be here and be a part of this community because you seem to enjoy it this year, then sign this. If not, we understand that this is your last big chance to get a contract. So go find out what you can get elsewhere.
The other high-priced free agent is likely David Perron, a little younger than James Neal, also on one of their more important lines. I'll say the same thing there. You really have to gauge the market to find out how much you're worth out there. I think both these guys owe it to themselves to look at what the market says. Again, unless the Knights come with a fabulous offer to either of them, if I'm them, I tell my agents, hey, at least see what's out there before we deal with the Knights. As you know, Brian, there are other unrestricted free agents, perhaps not as high on the totem pole in terms of popularity or value. Lucas Spiza, Ryan Reeves. Lucas Spiza, Adam, at Getaway Day really seemed to give off the sense he wasn't sure he's going to come back. I think he wants to come back as a defenseman. He had some injury problems this year. He said he didn't play his best, so we'll see what happens with him. I think Ryan Reeves is the more important factor here. Got him at the trade deadline from Pittsburgh.
Well, I thought he was an important piece. First of all, a really good locker room guy. We know that. A lot of guys really got along with him, and he added a lot just to the locker room, which they didn't need necessarily, but he was just one more piece that really fit in well. I thought that was big. But also they needed that toughness element, that guy that would be an enforcer, that not the old school like brute that would just go out there and try to tackle people and fight people, although he's willing to do that, but he's a guy that will be physical and back you up and not let other teams just intimidate you all the time. So I thought they needed Ryan Reeves. But again, this goes back to what we were saying, you can't just keep every guy you like. You might have 70 guys on your roster at that point.
So, Ed, the NHL awards are around the corner, June 20th, I believe, at the Hard Rock. Now, taking a look at your crystal ball, which I'm sure you have, which awards will reside right here in Las Vegas? GM of the Year, Coach of the Year, maybe a Vezina or Selke Award for a Golden Knights player? What do you think?
Well, as you know, Brian, the major awards like the Vezina and the Selke, all the finalists were named within the last several months. The Golden Knights didn't have any of those, and you can argue one way or the other if they should. I actually think it was apropos, given that this team never really had the superstar. Yes, they had Fleury, but what was the mantra all year? It's an entire team. It's 20 guys on the ice every night. They don't have superstars. So for them to be finalists for these major awards, it's not that much of a surprise they didn't have any. I do believe Gerard Gallant will win the Jack Adams Coach of the Year. I think that should be a runaway, and I believe George McPhee should win the GM of the Year.
Yeah, but I would think McPhee and Gallant, I would think, have those awards wrapped up, and I think it is fitting. As much as I know people want to see the Vegas players celebrated, I think not having anybody as a finalist is absolutely
total Vegas Golden Knights.
It's such a theme to this season of it was just a sum of their parts. It was everybody coming together. It wasn't one superstar. So I think I'm totally fine with that. I think most fans would be as well to just say, hey, it was about the team. It wasn't about one particular guy. But no question, McPhee and Gallant completely deserve those awards. And McPhee not only built this team, essentially built the team that won the Stanley Cup final.
Both teams in the Cup final.
It'd be a total stunner if either one of those guys didn't win.
And Adam, now I've seen your Twitter. You enjoy kind of stirring the pot a little bit. So will expectations for the Golden Knights fans be a little bit too high, or is Las Vegas now Hockey Town number 2 in the NHL?
Well, Brian, yeah, I do like to use my Twitter to to gauge fans' interest and to kind of really rile some people a little bit and see what people are thinking. Stir the pot. That's a fair thing. But I do give my real observations. It's not like I'm just throwing stuff out there. And a lot of times we talk about the Ryan Reeves thing. When everybody was saying how much they hated Ryan Reeves, I was tweeting about how important he'd be and down the road. And I'm not always right, but in that case I think I was. But yeah, I do like to stir the pot a little bit. But I do believe it. I think it's interesting to see how this fan base and how this team progresses when things aren't this good. I was on record saying when this team was good, which I didn't think would be for about 5 years, when they're good, this is going to be the best hockey market anybody's ever seen and far exceed anybody's expectations. Now, I thought when it was bad, that it was going to be a really bad market. And we'll see now. I think they did buy themselves some time. I think the fans here, no matter how the next couple of seasons go, are going to be behind this team fully because they had so much passion about this year's team. So I think being good right away is better than kind of building to it in that sense. People are going to have a lot of loyalty based on that. But I think the real test is for this market when things start to go bad. And I don't think it's going to be for a while. But then again, we didn't think it was going to happen for a while that they'd be good.
I think that power ranking had us finish second last September, right? So I don't know. It doesn't bug me too much where they have us ranked. And I think you're right, though. I think next year will be everybody knows we can do well, and as a group, as a team, I think right from the start, more will be expected, and that's fine.
All right, you two. Now, Marc-Andre Fleury says that he does not care about the power rankings out for next season, which I believe has the Golden Knights at 5. So I'll ask you two, was this lightning in a bottle? Is this a playoff team next season, assuming that James Neal is not on the roster? Is there a particular position that you think the Golden Knights should look into in the draft and through free agency?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Marc-Andre Fleury because where were the Golden Knights on this year's power rankings? I don't look at those things. I don't care about those things. They mean nothing. You can't predict injuries. You can't predict free agency. So it's nice to have, and I understand why they have them. We're in the business of those kind of things, of lists and subjective, rankings. But here's the deal. I think with $30 million on the cap, you need to go get some big name players. I think Adam's right. I think one of the main differences in that Stanley Cup final was the star power against a really, really good team, and I think the star power won out. Will they make the playoffs? I believe they will. I believe they're set up to contend in the Pacific. They will never have, Brian, a true expansion season, and they are very fortunate for that because fan bases, and maybe Seattle's waiting on this, and many before that, have to go through the losing. You have to go through 19, 18 wins.
But as far as next year, I definitely foresee some struggles, throughout the year. Some times where they hit a lull, they lose a couple of games in a row.
They didn't really do this year,
right? Because I think there was so much. It was just so much building and the energy building all throughout the year. And then to fall short where you did, you hear about Super Bowl hangover. The losing team in the Super Bowl often doesn't make the playoffs the next year. Right. It happens in other sports because it is such a grind, so emotional. You're building to something and then you fall short of it. It's only natural to fall back. I think that there's still a lot of young, hungry players on the team, so that helps. But I think it's add star power, get those guys in the room that are just, every night you're going to get something major from them, and you already have all these great role players around them, guys that can fill in, and then all of a sudden if Carlson is your second goal scorer and you add a scoring punch like Tavares, Now all of a sudden you have a really dynamic team that might be able to survive some of those lulls and keep it going.
The Golden Knights broke the record books in year number 1. However, the ultimate goal was not achieved. Next season, expectations will be through the roof, as will the production of this Golden Edge. So, I'd like to thank columnist Ed Graney and sports reporter Adam Hill. I'm Brian Salmon for Golden Edge. Look back, look ahead. We'll see you next time.